Thank you all for joining us. We love doing these because we have a lot of information that sometimes we feel like is very common knowledge. And we realize as we talk to people in the gym that it's not always common knowledge. And so we want to share as much information as we can, because that's actually how we gained our knowledge, is by talking to people. And like, I've learned a ton from Meghan. She's learned from me. We learned from other coaches, other podcasts, things like that. So we're always looking for ways to increase our knowledge base. And so we're going to try and keep things super simple. That's our goal. So if it ever feels overwhelming, just let us know, because we want to keep it as simple as possible so that you guys can apply what we're teaching you today. So most of you know that at CrossFit Preferred, we believe in a habit-based approach. That's the way we teach our nutrition program, is by layering habits so that we can support a lifestyle change and not look for a quick fix. Those quick fixes are not sustainable. It's not going to help you a year from now. If any of you have ever tried a quick fix diet like keto or isogenics, or I mean, there's a million of them out there. And I have to admit, I have done a lot of them before I knew what I know now. Every time I'd have a baby, I'd want to get that weight off quick, and I would try to lose the weight quickly by doing one of those quick fix diets. And usually it would work. And then I would either end up gaining the weight back, or what really happened is I jacked my metabolism up. And it took a long time to learn how to retrain my metabolism to a point where I could eat what I'm eating now and still see results. I used to think I either had to lose body fat or gain muscle. I couldn't do both. And once I started CrossFitting, that was something I really wanted, was to be able to do both. And I didn't know how. And so I talked to a lot of people, and my degree is in nutrition, but they don't teach you that kind of stuff in school. Like, they teach you the medical side of it. And I wasn't interested in that. And so I had to find different resources to teach me how to apply, you might hear the word macros, or how to apply the nutrition to myself and use myself as a guinea pig, and kind of learn what I could and couldn't enjoy, or and in what amounts I can enjoy those things in order to reach my goals. And so it's been 7 years. I've been doing CrossFit for 7 years. My 1 year anniversary was last week.
That's awesome. That's so
sorry,
cool.
my 7 year anniversary was last week. And it's taken a long time to kind of learn the process, but finally feeling like I'm in a really good place and know what my body likes. And each one of you is totally different, but that's why Meghan and I are here, to help you guys kind of find that balance. Everybody's bodies are so different. So we're going to talk about how to balance those meals and snacks. And then each one of you will have to apply it just a little bit differently, because some of you respond really well to like a more higher carb diet. And some of you might do really well with a higher fat diet. And we get to figure that out with you, and it's super fun. We love it.
It's a lot of fun.
So like I said, we're going to talk about the benefits of balanced meals, balanced snacks, and we're going to give you 5 tips to help you incorporate balanced snacks into your everyday routine. Plus, we're going to give you 4 tips on how to balance your daily meals. All right. So first, we're going to talk about keeping your meals balanced. So keeping your meals balanced with the source of protein, carbs, and fat. When I say those 3 words, what I'm talking about is macronutrients. So when you hear me say macros, I'm talking about protein, carbs, and fat. A lot of you already know that, but some don't. So we want to balance those so that we have sustainable energy and we can reach our nutrition goals, meaning building muscle and losing fat at the same time. So one example that I like to give people is, let's say, Sonia, I put you on a 1,500 calorie diet, but I didn't give you any guidance. I just said, okay, 1,500 calories, go. If you didn't know how to break those up and how much protein and carbs and fat to eat, you may be getting, you may still be eating at a calorie deficit, but 80% of your calories are coming from carbs because you don't know any different.
Right.
And so you're either really hungry because you're burning through carbs quickly. B, you're not able to build muscle because you're not eating the protein that you need. And you're not satisfied because your fat content is so low. So you're feeling hungry more often, and you're just kind of white knuckling it until you get, to your goal. Or maybe your tendency to binge or fall off the wagon is increased because you don't know what kind of balance to have.
Yep.
So the protein obviously is super important for muscle growth, but so is carbs, and carbs kind of get a bad rap, and we'll talk about that as we go. So we're going to talk about that. So the first step is to pick your protein. Picking your protein, every time I say have a protein-led diet, if you can think about what's my protein every time you have a meal or snack, you're going to be, your chances of hitting your daily protein needs are going to be a lot greater.
Yep.
So, so protein is super important. It provides us with important amino acids, which are key to building muscles and recovery. It helps us stay full and feel more satisfied. And when it comes to picking protein sources, there are high fat proteins and low fat proteins. And generally speaking, we'll have people kind of pick from that low fat category. So things
like a lean protein. So chicken, turkey, chicken
Fish.
breast, turkey, fishes like tilapia, like a whitefish, salmon is kind of
depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit leaner. Shrimp.
Yep.
Yep.
So those are all, or even like a protein powder, it's going to be no fat.
Yep.
So for the most part, we're kind of like gearing people towards that lower fat protein, non-meat source fats or non-meat source proteins would be like egg whites or a zero fat Greek yogurt, something like that.
Yep.
However, there is a place for high fat proteins as well, depending on your individual protein needs and your diet.
Yep.
So like Megan and I, we eat a little bit higher fat, a lower carb diet. And so we get a lot of our fat from our protein because our fat content for our daily fat content is higher. So recently I was introduced to chicken thighs and
they're amazing.
Saved my life. I really like them.
Yeah.
My husband is still kind of on the fence. So my kids love them too.
They're good.
About half my kids.
Yeah.
So chicken thighs in the air fryer are huge. Like, they're just good.
Yeah. I put my chicken thighs in an egg wash, and then I put pork rind, like crumbles on them, and throw them in the air fryer, and it's literally chicken tenders. It is so good. So good.
I haven't tried that yet, but one of our members, Ashley Bruno, who also follows a high fat diet, she's the one that kind of told us about that. So I haven't tried it yet, but I want to. I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, they're good.
So there is a place for higher fat proteins. You just have to know, some of you guys, we have you on higher fats.
Yep.
Some of you aren't quite there. Like you're not tracking protein, carbs, and fat, and that's totally fine. But we're going to teach you how to kind of gauge how much of each you're going to have. In a couple slides, we'll show you. So this is just a quick little slide that shows you the different fats, and it rates them based off of how lean they are into how fat they are. So bacon would be one of those fattier proteins. I found a bacon that I've told many of you guys about at Costco. That's a pork belly bacon, and it's super high in protein. It's the highest one I can find.
Yeah, I just bought it. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's 10 grams of protein in one slice, and then I think 4 grams of fat. 4 grams of fat. Yeah, which is not bad at all, and it's really good. And so one of the things I'm going to tell you about that I make for my lunch every day has that bacon in it, and I'm going to tell you about that in a couple slides. So just decide where you want to be on that list. If you choose a higher fat protein, you'll just cut fat somewhere else. You may not choose a fat from another source, and that's okay. It's totally up to you. So step 2 would be to choose your carb. So this is the macronutrient that tends to get a bad rap. We tend to shy away from it. You might, keto is like super popular. In fact, my brother-in-law's called me last week and he's like, I'm doing keto. And I'm like, no. To me, it's just not sustainable. And a lot of people have seen good results with keto. It's just not something that people are able to stay on for a lifestyle. So I don't like to encourage people to do things that aren't lifestyle changes. Yeah. And so carbs. There is a place in our diet for carbs. Many of our foods that fit under the carb umbrella are things like fruit, sugar, breads, pastas, grains, and starchy vegetables like sweet potato and butternut squash. But basically, a lot of foods have carbs in them that we might not think, like a lot of our sauces. Tonight I had spaghetti, and I did like 2 ounces of noodles and then tons of roasted veggies, and then the sauce, like I made a homemade sauce. The sauce is still carbs because it's a tomato base, right? And so you have to just understand that when we first think about carbs, we think about breads and pastas and grains, right? There's a lot of foods that fall into that carb category. But carbs break down in our body and are stored in our body as glucose. And glucose is our body's first energy source. So if any of you have ever tried keto, you might have gone through a stage where you feel really lethargic and just tired and no energy. And it's because you're starving your body of glucose. And your body is forced to use fat as fuel because there's no stored glucose. Our body's first energy is glucose. And so if we eat at our carbs at a level that's just below our energy level, so our stored glucose level, then we'll tap into fat as fuel. But the glucose has an important role. Chris and a bunch of people from the gym just hiked the Grand Canyon this last weekend. It was not like a little hike. It was like a really big hike. It was a 40-something mile hike. And if you've ever done a race or anything like that, the things you eat are things that get digested like that, that bring your blood sugar up. It's glucose. So they were eating things like applesauce and chews and like gummies and things that were going to pop their blood sugar, even soda. And in fact, he told me that at the bottom they got, there's like a little,
like a vending machine?
No, it's an actual campground. Like you can go down there and camp. So there's a little like restaurant.
That's
and
cool.
They bought lemonade, like fresh squeezed lemonade. And he's like, it was the best
thing
thing ever. Because they had already done like 30 miles and they were just totally spent, you know, and it was like brought them all back to life. Because it was a quick shot of glucose. So carbohydrates, I forgot to mention this in the last slide, but carbs and protein, 1 gram equals 4 calories. So when you get 1 gram of protein, it's going to give you 4 calories, and calories is a measurement of energy. So if I'm going to eat 10 grams of protein, I'm going to get 40 calories of energy from that protein. So carbs and protein are the same. They both give you 4 calories per gram. You should aim to eat around 30% of your diet carbohydrates and protein. So everybody's different. Like I said, you kind of have to figure out what works best for you and depending on what your goal is. But when we first put people on macros, generally speaking, we put them around 30% carbs. But again, everybody's different. So we're going to show you a quick list of different carbohydrates. So you're going to have 2 different kinds, starchy carbs and non-starchy carbs. When we get to the plate method, we're going to talk about those non-starchy carbs. And I would say 80% of our food should come from non-starchy carbs. So what are some examples of non-starchy carbs?
So a non-starchy carb would be like a cucumber, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kale, lettuce, cauliflower, carrots. Those pretty much your vegetable type items would be a non-starchy carb. So for a starchy carb, that would be like a potato, sweet potato, what else? Like rice,
breads, grains,
oats.
All of those are going to be higher. Bananas, berries would be like a non-starchy carb. They're lower on the glycemic and basically a carbohydrate. So if you've ever heard of the glycemic index, it is a way of measuring carbs and what it does to your blood sugar. And so things that are high on the glycemic index are going to spike your blood sugar. Things that are low on the glycemic index are going to keep your blood sugar more level. Our goal is to be more level in our blood sugar. It does a couple things. It helps boost our metabolism and it helps us avoid those big spikes and then crashes. So if you've ever eaten like a huge meal and feel really tired afterwards, it's because our blood sugar spikes with all that food and then it drops and so it makes us tired. All right. So third step is to pick a healthy fat. So contrary to popular belief, fat does not make you fat. And I know that that was something like when my parents were parents, so my age, that's what they thought, that fat made you fat. It was low fat everything. So like, for example, some of the things that come to mind are like red vines, fat free.
Yeah.
You know, all these things are fat free, but it doesn't mean that they're great for you. In fact, what we've learned over time is that fat actually helps you burn fat. And you need fat. There are certain vitamins that we eat that can only be absorbed by eating fat. They're fat soluble vitamins. So fat is the most calorie dense of the macronutrients. You get more than twice as many calories per gram. So you're getting 9 calories per gram of fat. So because of that, our fat portions need to be smaller. So a little bit goes a long way. We also want to choose plant-based fats for the most part, because they're going to be a healthier source of fat. So some of the fats that I use are avocado. I've been sauteing my vegetables in olive oil. I know you use ghee.
I use ghee and I use beef tallow. I
don't know what that is.
Beef tallow. It's a form of beef fat.
Okay.
And so when you're cooking with oils, you want to make sure the biggest thing to focus on is to stay away from seed oils. Seed oils are actually really bad, especially when it comes to like obesity and stuff like that. So sticking more towards natural, like ghee, which is just clarified butter. Beef tallow is just beef fat. Even bacon grease can work. It just has a high burn off rate. And then ghee has a very low burn off rate. So that's why I use it. Yeah, it works really well. I put it in my vegetables and it's just kind of like adding butter. Yeah. It's really good.
I just bought some ghee for the first time last week. I haven't used it yet. It's sitting in my cupboard. Do you have to keep it in the fridge?
No. Okay. I leave mine right on the counter.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, let's see, olive oil is good. Canola oil, depends on who you ask. It's iffy. I use it in some things like baking and stuff like that, but that's about it. But yeah.
I just made a bunch of bacon today for my egg muffins that I'm going to tell you guys about soon. And I saved the grease because Ashley was telling me that she cooks her food in bacon grease. I'm like,
same.
I don't know why that like makes me so nervous, but I'm going to try it. My kids are like, what's that? Because it kind of looks like apple juice.
It does.
Do you see it over there?
Yeah.
It's like in a little jar by the stove. Anyway, so I'll keep you guys posted, let you know how that
I have a container by my oven or by my stove that is just for my bacon grease.
So she kind of gave you guys some pointers on what kind of fats to use, but things like any kind of nut is going to be a fat. Any of the oils that we talked about, avocado. The other sources, eggs, like full eggs, the yolk is all fat. So generally speaking, I will do like 1 full egg to 2 egg whites, just to get in that healthy fat as well.
There's also vitamin D in egg yolk as well. Oh,
so that's good. And did you know that most people are deficient in vitamin D?
Yeah.
Even people that live in Arizona.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
It's crazy.
So yeah.
Okay. So step 4, we're going to teach you how to use the plate method for portion sizes. Do you want to go over that one?
Yeah. So for the plate method, you want to have half of your plate to be non-starchy vegetables, a quarter of your plate to be a lean protein, and then another quarter of your plate to be starchy carbs. And then add a little bit of a healthy fat source. So, any type of protein, chicken, turkey, and then for veggies, any type of veggies, you can just saute veggies up and then, a small side of rice and using the oil to cook your veggies as well.
So I feel like fat tends to, like if you go out to eat, for example, it's kind of hard to stay low fat.
It is.
But it's really easy to stay low carb.
Yep.
So like I said, we both follow a little bit higher fat diet. So I'm going to give you an example of 2 things that I personally ate today that kind of follow this plate method. And the plate method is really nice if you're not tracking macros or you don't want to track macros, because it is a very visual, easy way to see how to divide your plate up. And this is actually what we start most of our clients on is the plate method. So my everyday lunch, and I've posted about this before, I've shared it with some of you guys, is, depending on how prepared I am, it's either I make myself an omelet, or like today I had some extra time. And so I made the same concoction, but put it in muffins. So like 2 muffins is 1 serving. It has 1 egg, 2 egg whites. I have diced red pepper, green onions, cilantro. I was out of cheese today, so there was no cheese, but normally there's 1/2 ounce of cheese, and then 2 pieces of bacon. And I think that's it. Yep. And then I just whisk it all together. And I made a huge batch today so that I have my meals for the week. So my fat source is my cheese, my bacon, and my egg yolk. My protein source is my egg and cheese, are both protein sources. And then my carb source, because I follow a little bit lower carb, my carb source was my vegetables, even though it was on the lower side. But I tend to like to eat most of my carbs at dinner time, because I'm eating with my family and I'm not making low carb things for them. So I save a lot of my carbs for later in the day so that I can eat a normal meal with my family. So I just pop those in the oven at 350 for 20 minutes, and I have lunch for the rest of the week. So my lunch is my breakfast because I intermittent fast. So now when I get home from work, which is usually around noon, I just pop 2 of those in the air fryer. I eat these keto bagels that I just eat 1/2 of one, and I throw all of that in the air fryer, and in 5 minutes my lunch is done. And it's super easy. For those of you that work and need to take your lunch with you, throw them in the microwave. I know Megan eats hers cold.
I eat mine cold.
She has no problem with that. If you have the luxury of eating from home, I know Jazz works from home, something that she could totally make on a Sunday and have those ready to go, throw them in the microwave or the air fryer and just have them ready to go. So that's an example of how quick and easy it can be to have a balanced meal if you plan. So like I had to have bacon on hand. I had to have eggs on hand. My vegetable sources today were scarce. So I had to rummage through my drawer and find what I could to put it in there. And again, like I said, I didn't have cheese, but for the most part, I kind of know what I need to have on hand at all times. So my dinner, I kind of told you already about it. We had spaghetti. I made a homemade sauce yesterday, and it had a block of cream cheese in it. So there's fat in my sauce. So my sauce has all 3 macros. It has fat, protein from the ground turkey, and carbs from the tomato juice and tomato sauce. Okay, so that's pretty balanced. Then I chose to have 2 ounces of noodles so that I had more volume, and I had the carbs for it. And then I loaded, to make it feel bigger, I loaded it with roasted vegetables that I made yesterday that I had sauteed, not roasted, sauteed in olive oil. So that was, again, another fat for me. So, when you start to, if you don't track your food, that's totally fine. But one thing that tracking does, it gives you an awareness to what is in your foods so that you can throw together quick meals and you already know what it is, like if it's balanced or not. What's my carb, what's my protein, and what's my fat.
Yeah. My dinner tonight was, I had a beef patty. So that was my protein with cheese on top. So there was my protein and my fats, both of those. And then I had green beans as my carb, my non-starchy carb. And then I had a little bit of carbs left, and I had some sweet potato fries.
Perfect.
And that was, really
that's
good.
Perfect. And sometimes people will ask me, like randomly, I'll be out grocery shopping and someone will ask me something and they'll say, you probably never eat burger and fries. I'm like, actually,
once a week,
at least. Actually, I do. And that's the great thing about knowing what's in your food. Like we had burgers on Thursday night last week, and I love sweet potato fries. The ones from Trader Joe's are my favorite. So good. In my air fryer. And so I wanted the sweet potato fries. So I had 1/2 a bun so that I could have a couple ounces of my sweet potato fries. So it's just all about balance. Like there's no, I can't have this, I can't have that. It's just, what do you prefer? Do you want the bun or do you want the fries? You choose. And because I had the fries, I didn't put cheese on my burger because that has fat in it as well. And I used a Laughing Cow cheese wedge instead. And if you don't know what a Laughing Cow cheese wedge is, you need to go get the Pepper Jack Laughing Cow cheese wedges.
Oh, it's so good.
they are spicy and yummy, and they go with everything.
They do.
So the Laughing Cow cheese wedges are super low in macros. So like, I think there's like two fat and like 1 carb or something like that.
Yep.
It's really low.
Yeah.
So good way to add extra flavor.
Yep.
Okay. So hopefully we covered all your questions about how to build healthy meals. So now we're going to talk about how to build healthy snacks and why it's important to incorporate both. So I want you guys to think about something. Have you ever been out and about? Maybe you were at one of your kids' baseball games, or you were out running errands, and all of a sudden you are starving and you can't think about anything except food, but you didn't bring anything with you. So what are the chances that you're going to make a healthy choice at that point? You're out. You don't plan on going home soon. You don't have any food with you. You're most likely going to go through a drive-through somewhere, right? So our goal is to avoid those drive-throughs. And there's going to be times where you go through the drive-through. It's okay.
Yeah.
We can have another class about how to make healthy choices through the drive-through.
Exactly.
But if you had a little bit of a plan and you had something in your car or your purse or something like that, those chances of making healthy choices are going to be a lot greater, right? Another scenario for you that some of you guys might be finding yourself in. How many of you are working from home and have food at your disposal at all times?
Yeah.
That is hard,
really hard.
Especially if you have kids. I remember before I worked, and my kids were little and I was home with my littles, and he'd leave for work and I'd be like, you have it so easy.
Yeah.
Can I go to work today? Like, please. You pack your food. This is what you're eating. That's it. There's no making PBs and J's, eating fishies, like having treats. There's none of that temptation because you're gone. Yeah. You have your food and that's what you get to eat. And it's hard when you're stuck at home and you've got all these temptations. Yeah. But the thing that helps me the most is having my planned out snacks and making them yummy. So then 100%. I don't feel like I need to like have a treat here or there or like eat my kids, whatever. Right. Because I have a planned snack and it tastes good to me. Yep. So we're going to help you guys do that. So the importance of balanced snacks is it helps you avoid overeating when you have your meals. It helps regulate your blood sugar so you don't have those big spikes and those drops, and it fuels your metabolism. And I've talked to you guys a lot about that before. We want to build our metabolism up so that it works for us so that we can eat more food. In fact, Megan, why don't you tell them your experience with that? We hate her.
I am currently, my body likes to be fat adapted. I'm currently eating 2,600 calories every day. And then on Sundays, I get to refeed because we squat on Mondays. So on Sundays, I actually eat 3,100 calories.
Just so you guys know, that's a lot.
I eat a lot of food.
That's a lot. Like I eat 1,850. Yeah.
I eat a lot of food, and my metabolism is, because I eat so much food, it is working with me and I'm burning as I'm eating. And so I've been eating at a surplus at like 2,500 calories for like 4 weeks now. And I mean, maybe I've gained a pound ish.
But she's putting on muscle.
And exactly. So I'm putting on muscle. Yeah. I'm definitely getting stronger and I can feel it. But I've gotten my metabolism to the point where now it's working. And now I can efficiently eat all of this food and still feel good and also see results in the gym.
So it takes time. Guys,
it does.
You gotta be patient.
I've been doing this for like 6 years. Like it takes a very long time. And my body likes to be fat. I used to be 200 pounds and my body likes to be bigger. When I had gained all my baby weight, when I had been, it took me a very long time to lose all that weight. And so that's how I learned about macros. And it took me years like training my body and getting my metabolism back, because my body also, when I was skinny, I didn't do it healthy. And so I had completely broke my metabolism. I wasn't eating and I was overworking out. And so now I had to retrain my metabolism. And then once I've retrained it, now I get to train it to efficiently work. Yep. So yeah, it's not fast.
So as women, we are chronic dieters. We think we need to be on a diet all the time.
Yeah.
And so what happens is we then have to get to a point where we have to reverse diet. And what that means is we have to slowly increase our calories over time. And we may not see a change on the scale or in our body fat for a little while, but over time, our metabolism wakes up and we start realizing that realizing that it's going to get continuous food. And so it starts burning. And that's actually something that I've been, even with all the knowledge I have and all the things that I know, I have had to do the same thing. So over the last, starting in February, I started feeding myself more, and it was really cool. It was a little bit slower process, but it was cool to see my muscle go up, my fat go down, and hit a low that I had never seen before. And I'm eating way more food than I'm not hungry. Yeah. And my food tastes really good.
Yeah.
So like it's getting to a point where you just have to be patient, trust the process, and find that consistency. And so we're going to help you guys by introducing those snacks and not skipping them, even if you're not hungry, because they're important.
Yep. Sundays can kind of be, once again, y'all are going to hate me for this, but Sundays can be kind of hard because I am eating so much food. My last meal of the day is my favorite meal. Like it's yogurt, cottage cheese, granola, protein. It is amazing. It tastes really good. But on Sundays, I'm not hungry for it. And I sit there and I eat it and I'm not enjoying it as much as I would, but I'm still making sure to get it in to eat it because I know I need that meal to last me until the next day. I know that that is part of fueling my body so that I can do what I want to do, with squats Monday morning. So even though I'm not hungry and I'm not really feeling it, it's still eat it.
Yeah.
And it's
so just having a plan is going to really help. She's got a plan. I have a plan. We're helping you guys have plans. So, there's actually been studies that have been done that show that those that eat 3 meals and 2 snacks a day have a lower body fat percentage, and have higher fiber intake. They eat more fruits and vegetables because they're eating more times in a day.
Yep.
So your first step is to have balance in your snacks. So that is very similar to what we were teaching you with your meals, is to have a protein, carb, and fat source in your snacks, because that's going to help you feel full longer. So this is a quick little example of what some healthy snacks look like. But we also are going to share some of the things that we do. My snacks tend to be the same every day. Most of my food is the same except for my dinner. My dinner changes every night for the most part. Yep. And that's because I'm cooking for a family. My kids are not going to eat the same thing every day, even though it'd be super easy and helpful if they would.
It'd be really nice.
Although we did eat the same thing 2 nights in a row. They'll do that.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what my snacks are. And then I'll give you some other ideas of snacks, and then she can tell you what her snacks are. So my snacks every day are a G2g bar. And if you guys don't know what those are, if you've never tried them, come and talk to me.
They're so good.
They're the best, and they are my treat. And I make sure that they fit in my macros, because they are my between lunch and dinner snack. That's my snack, because that's usually when you start to have like some cravings, or for me, that's my busiest time of the day. My kids are home. I'm running them here and there, and a G2g bar is quick and easy, and I can take it with me. I don't have to prep anything. I pull it out of the fridge and eat it. So that's my afternoon snack. My first technical meal of the day is a protein shake. So I would consider that a snack, because it's just the Driven Nutrition protein powder that we sell at the gym. I absolutely love. It's very easy on my stomach. I don't have any issues with it. And I mix it with almond milk, and it tastes like chocolate milk. And I just shake it up the night before, and I put it in the fridge, and I grab it on my way out the door in the morning, and I keep it with me at the gym. And then my last snack of the day tastes like a treat, and it and it makes it so that I don't feel like I need to have a treat. So it is a Too Good yogurt. So Too Good is the brand that only has like 3 grams of carbs in it. It's pretty low and there's very low sugar.
Yep.
I mix a half a scoop of vanilla driven protein powder in it. And then I do 1 ounce of frozen blueberries, 1 ounce of a high fat granola that I buy at Costco, and whipped cream. And it's delicious.
Yep.
And I love it so much. In fact, we were in California on a girls' trip and there were so many treats around and all I wanted was my yogurt treat because I knew it was going to make me feel good and fill me up. It has like 27 grams of protein in it.
Yep.
So those are my 3 snacks. If I'm not home, meaning I'm traveling and I need more ideas. So like we went to, we went camping this weekend at Lake Pleasant. Wait, is that right?
Yeah.
Lake Pleasant?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were on a boat. And so like I couldn't eat my yogurt. I don't know. It was just different.
Yeah.
So I always carry jerky with me. So jerky, nuts. What else did I do? I still brought my G2g bars. Oh, I'll do turkey and cheese roll up. So like that's what I did for lunch. I just did deli turkey with a low fat string cheese, rolled it up, and I did a half an apple with it. So that's my fat, my carb, and my protein.
Yep.
Cottage cheese is something that is so easy to get in. You can do it so many different ways too. So I've done like cottage cheese and berries, but I also will do cottage cheese and sprinkle ranch seasoning on it and use veggies.
I still have to do that.
Oh, you know what amazing. I had yesterday for my snack? I did cottage cheese and hopefully you guys don't think I'm weird, but you know the tuna creation buffalo tuna?
Oh, that sounds good.
I took that and I put it with my cottage cheese.
Oh, yeah.
And I had chips with it yesterday. But I mean, you could have whatever. You could have veggies. So that was my snack yesterday. And then I actually did a half avocado smashed up too. And ate that with chips too.
Have you ever done cottage cheese and those Frito scoops?
Well, my chips yesterday were the Frito, the ones from Trader Joe's.
Yes.
The Frito looking things.
Yeah, they're so good with cottage cheese.
Yes. So good. So you just got to get creative. So again, I thought, what's my protein? That's the first thought I had. What's my protein? The cottage cheese.
Yep.
And then I was already low on protein because Sundays I tend to I don't eat as much on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so that's why I put in the tuna creations and then the fat from the avocado.
Yep.
Okay. So what are some of your snacks that you do?
My first meal of the day is a protein shake. So, the driven protein powder, and I mix it with coconut water because it gives me a little bit of carbs, and I drink my protein shake right after I work out. So those carbs just instantly go straight to my energy source and the protein powder for my muscles. And then, I eat my breakfast, lunch, and then my snack after that is usually deli meat with carrots and right now snap peas. And then I do like a half of a G2g bar. And so that's my little snack. And then at night is my treat snack. And I do the Too Good yogurt. I mix it with a little bit of cottage cheese. And then I put, I actually started making my own granola at home.
Oh, nice.
And so I put some granola on top of that with whipped cream and protein powder.
Awesome.
Yep.
You guys got to try it.
It's so good.
Okay. So your snacks, try to aim to be around 200 to 300 calories. That again depends on what your daily calories are, but 200 to 300 is a good kind of starting point. Oh, did I skip? Oh, okay. So I forgot to say that. So keep your snack portion size. So snack size, so 200 to 300 calories. One thing that you can do, like if you have a hard time knowing what snack size is or controlling those portions, you can buy snack size bags. So like you can buy like those little popcorn bags. I found at Sam's Club, they have beef jerky sticks, like the Jack's Links jerky in single serving sizes. So that's really easy to grab. Though I love using that as a snack because it's 12 grams of protein and like 0 or 1 carb. It's super low. Yeah. And it's good. And so that's an option. You can measure your snacks out beforehand. Another snack that I like is the Boom Chicka Pop popcorn. If you guys like kettle corn and you want like something crunchy at night, the Boom Chicka Pop popcorn is awesome. The macros are pretty good. And you just have to measure it out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard.
Don't eat it from the bag.
You got to weigh it actually.
Yeah, you do.
Because it says 4 cups. It's not 4 cups.
It's not.
Sorry, guys. No. So the Boom Chicka Pop popcorn's an option.
Yep.
Just make sure it is an actual serving size because that can get a little tricky. Okay, step 3. Make it a family affair. Have your kids join in. So when my kids got home from school today, lately they've been asking for avocado toast, which is I know,
so sophisticated.
They want me to make them avocado toast. I would say, so I have 5 kids. 4 of them are awesome eaters. 1 is not. So I have to get a little bit creative. But so one thing I want to share with you is that she is a very picky eater. And so when she was younger, she's 13 now, but when she was younger, the best way for me to get her to try stuff was to have her be in the kitchen with me.
Yeah.
So she got to choose what kind of foods we were eating, what kind of vegetable were we going to serve with dinner, what fruit were we going to have with breakfast. And that encouraged her to try new things because it gave her control. So make it part of the family. My boys today, they got home from school and Brody grabbed Ritz crackers out of the pantry and just started eating crackers. I'm like, well, let's let's make it a little bit healthier. Yep. So we threw some peanut butter on there. We put a banana on there and we threw one little chocolate chip on top and I called them monkey bites and they were like, these are awesome.
Yeah.
Like just get creative.
Yeah.
You can help them. It really helps them build confidence in the kitchen. So as they get older, they feel like trying new things. They feel like cooking is fun. One of my boys loves to cook. Anytime I'm in the kitchen, he is right next to me. It doesn't matter what we're making. So he really, really likes that. So just let them be a part of it.
Yeah.
Does Ben like to cook?
Not really. Sometimes he thinks he wants to help and then attention span and he's gone.
All right, step 4, plan your snacks ahead. If you guys are one of my nutrition clients, you know this is a huge one for me. Again, just so you're not stuck out you know, at work or out running errands and feel starving and go through the drive-through. So if you've ever heard, don't let busy become a way of life, because it is 100% true. So if we get too busy, we skip meals. That is so common. And that's actually something I see a lot with men that are like in their 40s. They work really, really hard. And before, this is like my dad, like to a T. Just work. And before you know, it's 5 o'clock. They haven't had one thing to eat.
So bad.
You know?
Yeah.
And what happens is they're training their metabolism to be dormant. And so we want to try to avoid that. So I have one client who works long days. She works 12-hour shifts. She works at the hospital. And she had a habit of going to the cafeteria on her break and, you know, choosing things that weren't great, you know? So one of the first things we did is we started planning her snacks out and so that she had something that was, what? I know, we're going to go through them at the end. Okay. Chris is interrupting. How rude. So she started bringing her snacks to work, and I met with her today, and she's got it down. In fact, another person, Celeste, she's another person who that was a struggle for her, and she has got that down, and she has seen great results. And it's really cool to see some of you guys like incorporate those snacks and like have a plan. It's not hard to stick to if you have a plan.
Exactly.
So
on Sundays I meal prep all of my food, so I make sure, so like I have breakfast in the morning, but then I also know that I'm going to be out running around and I'm going to get hungry because it's around my snack time, and I always make sure I have a bar on me. I have a bar on me and I have protein powder, and I can easily just mix it with water or whatever, and I always have it with me just in case.
I keep jerky with me almost all the time. So in my car, because it doesn't have to be refrigerated. All right. Then the last step is to snack mindfully, not mindlessly. So here's an example of this. This weekend, like I said, we were at Lake Pleasant and we were on a boat, and I brought specific snacks for me. Like I brought all the crap, you know, too, for my kids and all that. You know, you gotta have the chips and stuff too. But I brought specific snacks for me. So we start boating and we're hanging out and everybody starts bringing out the snacks. And at first I reached for the bag and I'm like, no, I'm not hungry. I'm snacking because everybody else is snacking.
Exactly.
It's not because I want a snack. So being mindful of why you're snacking. Are you snacking because you're hungry?
Yeah.
Are you snacking because you're bored? Or are you snacking because everybody else is snacking around you?
Yep.
Car rides. I used to be so bad in the car. I mean, I was almost making myself sick in the car.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I will snack in the car if I'm tired. That is a way to keep me awake for sure.
Yeah.
But I will have planned snacks now. I feel like I have made a huge progress in that area. It used to be really, really bad.
Yeah.
So that's another area that I feel like, could very well, if you don't have a plan. And then even stopping at the gas station and grabbing stuff out of habit.
Yeah. I was really bad. Any road trip, the first place was a gas station and I bought all the things. Yeah. I didn't need any of it, but I just bought it all. Like an unsupervised kid in a candy store. I'm like, oh, I need this. I didn't need it.
You know what's hard is the healthy snacks can sometimes be really expensive at gas stations.
Yeah, they can. Yes.
I'm like, I'm not paying $7.
Yeah. It's this big. You have maybe an ounce of jerky in it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
But lately I've noticed that at gas stations you can get yogurt and string cheese and things like that.
Hard-boiled eggs too.
Yeah.
I got hard-boiled eggs. I was unsure how that was going to go, but I bought hard-boiled eggs and I didn't get sick. So
yeah.
That's great.
So anyways, just be mindful when you are snacking. Have a plan. If you don't have a plan, be conscious of why you're snacking. Are you snacking because you're hungry, or are you bored, or are you socially snacking?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to just review the steps that we went over. So for building your plate or balancing your meals, we're going to pick our protein, carb, and fat, and use the plate method for our portion sizes. And then for our snacks, we're going to pick balanced snacks.
Yep.
We're going to make sure they're snack size, make it a family affair, plan your snacks out ahead of time, and then practice mindfulness when you're snacking. All right. We're going to go over some questions. We can see that there's quite a few. So let's open this up and hopefully, I'll just scan through it a little bit. So Claudia, are volume carbs also high glycemic? So I'm not sure if I understand what you mean by volume carbs. Do you want to unmute yourself and tell me what you mean?
Sure. In that chart in the beginning, I think on the right, you had spinach, beets, all of those that fall into that category. Where do they fall in that glycemic range, or does it matter?
Yeah. So anything that's going to be in that low to medium is going to be a non-starchy carb. So anything in that high section is going to be a starchy carb. Yep. Does that answer your question? So high glycemic index are going to be starchy.
Yep. Okay.
Low to medium are going to be non-starchy.
Okay. Thank you.
So apple a day, like they say, is no good because it's on starchy side. Okay. So apples are tricky. Apples have a lot of fiber in them. So it can be non-starchy because it has a lot of fiber in them. But depending on the size, it can be a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
So I will usually weigh my apple out, and lots of times I'll just eat a half an apple. I love apples.
Same.
But it just depends on what you want to spend your carbs on.
Yeah.
So almost always when I eat an apple, I'll eat a half an apple because then I still get the taste and all that.
Yep.
And there's so many different sizes. Like even if you're tracking an apple, it'll say a medium apple. You're like, okay, well, what's a medium apple?
Yeah.
A medium apple.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sonia, do you make your own ghee or beef tallow?
No, I just, Sprouts has a really good brand of ghee and beef tallow. And then I just bought a giant jug of ghee at Costco for, I think it was $16. And I mean, it's huge. And cool. At Sprouts, I pay $11 for half that size. So Costco is, awesome. And just read the label. Just look at the ingredients and make sure it's just butter. And that's the biggest thing is if you're looking at any type of oils or something, just read the label and make sure it's, if it's coconut oil, make sure it just has coconuts in it. If it's ghee, it should just be butter. Beef tallow, it's just beef fat.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the advantage of using ghee over butter?
It's clarified butter. So I'm not 100% sure how the process is, but it's the process of the butter. It makes it a higher burn rate. Sorry. No, it makes it a lower burn rate.
Oh, so you don't have to use as much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. So Sonia asked me if I have enough energy to work out on an empty stomach. So that is something that I had to train myself for. And it took about 2 weeks. And I have experimented on my body, on my energy for years. And I used to work out fasted. And then I decided that wasn't for me. And I would eat a fig bar before my workouts. And I did that for probably 2 years. And then at the beginning of the year, after the nutrition challenge, I decided it was time to kind of experiment so that I could broaden my knowledge base on fat adaptive, because Megan was kind of going in that direction. I'm like, I need to understand what this means and see how it works for my body. And I had tried intermittent fasting years before, and I hated it. I was so hungry. I'm like, this is dumb. I don't like to be hungry. And so it took about 2 weeks for me to not be hungry. And there's actually days I tell Megan all the time, I'm starving.
Yeah.
And so on days like that, I'll drink my protein shake early, but I'm still a fat adaptive. Like I'm still sticking to my same macros. I just will eat earlier. Yep. And I do think that there's going to be times where I'm hungry, or like, depending on what we're doing in the gym, like right now we're doing this strength cycle. So we're lifting heavy weights. Yeah. I'm waking up hungry. If I wake up to pee in the night, I'm hungry. Yeah. And then I go to the gym and I'm hungry before I start my workout. And so I told Megan, I'm like, I got to give myself some more food. And so I haven't done that yet, only because my weekends have not been great. Like I'm giving myself more food on the weekends right now, to be completely honest. So, anyways, it takes about 2 weeks. And then for the first 2 weeks, I was getting lightheaded anytime I would lift heavy weights. And I am past that, and my workouts feel amazing. I feel really, really good, but it took a little bit of time.
I'm sorry to cut in. I just want to know, for the Megan, like, what is the difference between fat adapted and eating like a paleo diet? Because the paleo people, they're always saying like, oh, you're fat adapted, so we hardly eat any carbs. So what's the difference between the low carb diet and that?
So when you're fat adapted, your body's first energy source is your fats. So fat adapted, I mean, being paleo, you could fall under fat adapted. Being keto is not, it's a fat adapted, but harder because you're keeping your body in ketosis the whole time. So that's where it's kind of unsustainable. But yeah, if you're paleo, it is a form of being fat adapted because you are on a lower carb, a higher fat, and your body is using your energy source, your fats as your energy source.
That was a really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can definitely be fat adaptive on paleo. Paleo is just eating more vegetables basically. And you're not getting those big spikes in your blood sugar. So yeah, that is more fat adaptive. So do you recommend intermittent fasting? So I actually don't recommend any one thing in particular, because everybody's different, and some people like it and some people don't. And you just have to see what works best for you. Yeah. If you like bigger meals, I recommend trying it. My meals are I eat 2 meals and then 3 snacks. So my meals are a little bit bigger and I like it. And then when I go out to eat with my husband, like on a Friday night, I feel like I can eat a little bit more. Yep. Some people, I'm going to use Jazz as an example just because she's on here and hopefully she doesn't mind if I pick on her a little bit. Jazz, her body type is one that does, her goals are a little bit different too. Like she wants to put on some muscle. And her body type is one that burns through carbs a little bit faster. So I wouldn't recommend intermittent fasting for her. And I also wouldn't recommend low carb right now, because her goal is to increase her muscle mass, and she burns through those carbs because she just has that body type. And so there's no right or wrong answer really to that. Does it always have to be sweet potato fries? I can't get into it, but want fries too. Nope. No. In fact, the macros are almost exactly the same. Yeah. Sweet potato or regular fries, the macros are the same. Look at the back of the food labels. They're going to be really close. Yeah. So I just like them. So snacks are a must.
100%.
What are your macros, Megan?
So my protein is 165 grams. My fats are 180 grams and my carbs are 80 grams. So it comes out to 2,600 calories.
And just to give you guys an idea, generally speaking, you want to be around 1 gram per pound body weight for protein. Megan does not weigh 165 pounds. No. But, you know, you can be anywhere from 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound body weight, and that falls within that range. My protein is a little bit lower. Mine's at 150 right now. That's about 1 gram per pound body weight for me. The reason mine is a little bit lower is because after getting blood work done and meeting with my naturopath, my liver is a little bit overworked and it could be from higher protein. And so I just chose to drop my protein a little bit just to see if that helps me a little bit. So that's why mine, I've been as high as 180, but mine's at 150 right now. Yeah. Okay. I think you guys are talking about the G2g bars are so good. Yeah. Yes, they are. Yeah. G2g bars, you can get them at our gym. They're $20 for a box, and they don't really sell them in the stores. You can get them online or you can get them in the gym, but online they're the same price and you have to pay shipping. So we would love if you guys would support us and buy them from the gym. That would be great.
And then you don't have to wait for them to ship.
And we always keep them in stock. Yep. So no snacks between breakfast and lunch. Yes, you can have a snack between breakfast and lunch. It just depends on what time you have that first meal, Claudia, especially if you're working out in the morning. I would have that protein shake right after you work out, then have a full meal if you can, if you have time before you leave for work, and then have a snack before lunch. So every 3 to 4 hours is kind of what we're looking for fuel, some kind of fuel. Yeah. Okay. Granola, Marilyn, I will send you the 2. Actually, if you hold on 1 second, I'll go grab them and I'll show you. They're in my pantry. But I do the grain-free. I think it's Elizabeth, something like that. And then there's another one that's like a coconut one that are really good.
The coconut one's amazing.
Yeah. So Chris says he has a snack between breakfast and lunch. Yeah, Chris does not intermittent fast. He also doesn't do the fat adapted like me. He does more carbs, and that's just because his body handles it really well. Our body types are different. I build muscle fairly easily. He builds muscle decently, but not quite as easily. And he runs a lot. He does a lot of cardio, so he can handle all those carbs. Love the Tuna Creation Club crackers, hard stuff. Could you feel hungry if you are not drinking enough water?
Yes. Sometimes I intermittent fast and my first meal is at 11 o'clock, usually around, I think I was saying this morning, at like 8 in the morning, I tend to feel a little hungry. And that kind of, for me and how I know my body, that's my body letting me know that I haven't had enough water. And I drink, and all I had to do was drink some water. And then by the time my workout came around, I wasn't hungry anymore. Yep. So yeah,
that's something I can't remember who I was telling. I met with one of my nutrition clients the other day and I was telling them that very thing. I said, if you're feeling hungry, she was telling me she was hungry. Yeah. I said, okay, well, let's try this. I want, anytime you feel hungry, I want you to go drink a glass of water first. Yeah. Wait 5 or 10 minutes. And then if you're still hungry, then add a snack. So I didn't want to up her calories quite yet until I knew she was actually hungry. Yeah. And so that's something you can try is drink up your water intake, especially now that it's getting warmer. If you're used to drinking 60 ounces of water, bump it to 80. And eventually we want to get you up to 100 to 120 ounces of water a day. But I thought road trip snacks didn't have calories.
I wish. That'd be nice.
So Soki said, I buy rocket apples and they are small and just enough. Nice. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. My favorite apples are like the tart ones. So I like the Pink Ladies or Honeycrisp. Yeah. Those are good. The expensive ones, of course. Yeah. They're my favorite, but they're never small. They're ginormous. No. Yeah. But luckily I have kids and I can just give them the other half. Yeah. So any other questions that you guys have? I loved the questions. Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to grab those 2 granolas really quick. There's one more question? Just added. Oh, if you intermittent fast and work out in the morning, aren't you supposed to have protein shake after? And that's not in your time frame eating. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So that was something that I was kind of worried about because I do work out in the morning. I work out at 7 and I don't eat until 11. Okay. So again, everybody's bodies are totally different, but mine is actually responding well to it. my muscle has increased. Every scan I've done since February, my muscle has increased. So I'm up like 2 or 3 pounds of muscle, which is actually really hard to do once you're at a certain point in your muscle growth. It's very hard to gain muscle. And so it's working.
Yeah.
Like, not really sure why. And again, if you had a body type, if you were an ectomorph and had a body type that doesn't build muscle easily, you might have the opposite effect. So your body type is different than mine. You're more of an ectomorph. I'm a mesomorph.
Yeah.
And body types play a big role in what kind of foods you are going to eat. Ectomorphs don't build muscle very easily. They need more food.
Yeah.
Mesomorphs build muscle fairly easily, but then they can lose it easily as well if they stop lifting. So like for her to eat right after she works out is probably pretty important.
Yeah.
For me, my body is responding just fine to not eating.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a trial and error. There's not one right or wrong way to do it. You just have to be consistent long enough to know if it's working.
Yeah.
And then if it's not, then we know how to change it. But that consistency is huge. Okay, I'm going to grab those granolas super fast, and Megan's going to just look pretty. Of course, I threw away the other one. The other one's gone, so this is the one that I'm going to show you. So it's called Autumn's Gold Grain-Free Granola. The other one is called Elizabeth's something. It's in a white bag.
And I think, does it say keto on it?
It says grain-free. I'm pretty sure. Or it might... I don't remember, but they have it at Costco.
Yeah.
And it's in the same aisle. So this one has 13 grams of carbs, but the serving size is 1/4 a cup, and I do 1 ounce. So it's not this many. So 13 carbs, 10 fat, and 4 protein. And I
13 fat, 10 carbs.
Sorry, 13 fat. Read a food label, Tiersa. 13 fat, 10 carbs, 4 protein.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they're really good.
I need to make a Costco run because this is all I have left, guys.
That's not gonna last.
Enough for a couple nights, and that's it. Okay, so hopefully you guys got some questions answered. We loved having you all on here, and we loved all the questions. And if you guys ever have any other questions, we're happy to help out. You don't have to wait for these talks. I mean, we're around all the time and we love to answer questions. A lot of you guys are nutrition clients, but if you're not and you are interested in setting an appointment with us, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. So thanks again, and we will talk to you all later. Have a great night.